Shalom everybody, hope all is well. I want to share that we are in extremely intense moments. We're in the final moments before the redemption, and now everything we do now is even more valuable than ever before because we are the final generation. And just like when you're accomplishing a project, the final touch-ups, the final moments are the most crucial. It's always like that in life. That the final moments are the most intense and the most important in a sense, right? Even when you're fasting, let's say it's a fast day on the Jewish calendar, it's a 24-hour, 25-hour fast, let's say. The first 22 hours can go as smooth as can be, but the final 3 hours feel longer than the first 22 hours. So us now in these final moments of exile, they feel harder, maybe. They may feel harder than the previous moments, but they're also, the effect that they have on bringing the redemption are even more powerful than before. This is really relevant right now, where we are currently in the 3 weeks between the 17th of Tammuz and Tish, where we mourn the destruction of the temple. It's called Bein HaMetzarim. Within the painful, the narrow places. We're in a very narrow place right now. On the one hand, it's the middle of the summer where the sun is shining bright, and obviously that's like an analogy for the light of Hashem. Hashem's light is revealed in the summer because it's in between, because it's after the holiday of shavuot, after we've received the Torah. But at the same time, now we enter a time where we're mourning the destruction of the first and second temple. But on a deeper note, we yearn for the coming of Mashiach. We yearn for the third temple. In fact, we know that when these fast days, when Mashiach comes, these fast days, these days of mourning will turn into days of celebration. And in fact, there'll be the highest celebration, where Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, which is in about under 2 weeks from now, about 12 days from now, 13 days from now, we will be celebrating I shouldn't say celebrating, not yet celebrating, we'll be mourning, marking the height of the mourning of the temples, because that was the day that both temples were destroyed, the 9th of Av, and it was also the day that the spies gave a negative report on the land of Israel, where Moses sent spies to scout out the land of Israel, and they gave 10 out of 12 of them gave a very negative report on the Holy Land of Israel, and that was a source of a lot of problems for us. So it's an incredibly sad day. But we know that everything that exists also has an equal and opposite reaction to it. So if it's such a sad day, the sadder the day is when it gets flipped and transformed with the arrival of Mashiach, it'll become the happiest day. And there will only be happiness. There will be no more mourning and sadness when Mashiach comes. And the saddest days will be flipped over and will be the pinnacle of the happiness. So, very nice, but what do we do now? So as I've mentioned in previous videos, we gotta first of all, we should learn the laws of the 3 weeks. I can post below certain laws of the 3 weeks links, because I'm not going to go into all the details. There's much to learn, and there's many great sources that each and every one of you can learn on your own by clicking the links below that, with God's help, I'll post. So I want to share what we should be doing. I'll post the links so you can actually study these topics, but we should be studying a lot also about the Beis HaMikdash, the temple, the first and second temple, and the third temple. We have a custom to study a lot the laws of the temple now in these times. And in fact, the Rebbe explains that, the Gemara explains that, the prophet Ezekiel explains that when you study about the building of the temple, you literally build it. In fact, the people cried out to the prophet Ezekiel, and I've mentioned this before, it's not the first time I mentioned this, but again, it's so relevant, especially in these 3 weeks, where we're mourning the temple, the destruction of the temple. The prophet Ezekiel, the people cried out to him and said, we want to serve God, but we don't have a temple. We can't bring the offerings to God. So the prophet Ezekiel explains that when you study about the temple, you study the Torah, the laws of the temple, God considers it as if you built the temple. And so that's something you don't want to miss out on. Now, another thing I want to mention is the Rebbe explains something very interesting about, it says, Adam ki yakriv mikem. When we speak about the sacrifices we brought to God in the temple, the offerings, it says, when you Adam ki yakriv mikem, when a person sacrifices from among you. But it should say when a person among you brings a sacrifice. So it sounds like you're saying when a person sacrifices from among you. It's a weird way to put it. So the Rebbe explains that Korban is also the word karov, which means closeness. When you bring an offering to God, you get close to Him. So the Rebbe says everything that we learn in the Torah, even if it was something that we did in the temple that we aren't able to perform these rituals right now because we await the third temple. The Rebbe explains it's even though we can't physically do it right now, nonetheless it's a lesson for each and every one of us in our avodah, in our service of God, in our own life. So Rebbe explains this verse that says, Adam ki yakriv mikem, when you want to get close to God, it means when you want to bring a korban, an offering, but it also is the word karav, which means closeness. When you want to get close to God, mikem, it comes from you. It has to come from you to get close to God. You should never say that, who am I? God put me in so-and-so situation. I'm far from God. It's not really for me, this service of God. I'm too far from this. I'm not a spiritual person. No. Mikem adavar talui. The matter is dependent upon you. You have the power to get close to Hashem. Don't ever make excuses, because you have the ability within you to get close to God. All it takes is that desire and channel it into action. But you have the potential to get close to God. It comes from you. You have to want it. So you have to make yourself want it. You also have to want it. So this, I think, is such an important message for us in these interesting times, that we have to work on our will to get closer to God. We have to keep forcing ourselves to think about God and thirst for Him and to want to get close to Him. And He tells us, when you want to get close to me, you can. So let's not miss out this opportunity. I'll post some links below to study, and may we merit the coming of Mashiach and the building of the third temple immediately.